What we're here trying to do today is to say enough is enough. Your core support are the people who go through the turnstiles. You're making so much money from the TV deal, £5 billion. Every club is getting their share of that. There is no need to charge the match-going fan a minimum, an absolute minimum of £64 per ticket for a fixture like today. It's absolutely outrageous. So all the fans of all the clubs are working together this weekend to get this issue out into the mainstream and say enough is enough and 20's plenty for a match ticket.
Football is a working class game, so £50, it's a lot of money for someone on minimum wage.
I just think it's ridiculous that you've got players on exorbitant wages, and yet the fans who go week in, week out, home and away, they're not seeing any of that at all. Because the clubs could afford it if they wanted to.
I think pressure has to be put on to the clubs. I think it has to be put onto the FA, it has to be put across the board to everyone. I think the message has to be just put across from everywhere.
Football clubs are quite out of touch with fans, and the players are also out of touch with what real prices are because they earn so much.
The clubs basically depend on the fans to just put up with it, and at the end of the day, if you're not prepared to make a stand about it, then nothing's going to change.
Half of my mates went to Porto, half of them going to Kiev. Kiev charging the supporters £3.70 for the away match. Less than £60. I mean, it's just like
less than a pint.
That's less than a pint. How can that? I mean, how can they justify charging the away support that much? Even the home support is it's ridiculous.
The cheapest ticket for an Arsenal fan or a Manchester United fan today is £64. Now, this is still a game that is very much for the people. It should be, because that's what makes the atmosphere. But if you're being asked to pay £64 to turn up for a game, I think that's too much. It's too much. It's a lovely stadium, don't get me wrong. I love coming here, but £64 to watch a game of football, that's wrong.
First of all, it's not a free market. That's the reality. So we're not looking at supply and demand as the way to judge whether ticket prices are correct. The reality is you've got an incredible loyalty amongst football supporters that means that they can be abused in that situation. Normally, in any environment like that, a government will intervene and say, look, this is a monopolistic environment, and so we have to regulate it. Now, we're not asking for that at this stage. I mean, I think it'd be very welcome, but we're not, because we believe there can be an element of self-regulation here.
We have to convince the money men at every Premier League club and the people who run the Premier League. They make so much money now, it's a global product. If there's nobody sitting in those seats, the appeal of their product is diminished. So we want to make sure that all of the clubs are aware that the supporters who go in the ground every week are not going to take it anymore.
The problem is, because we haven't got competition in the market, it isn't a market, it's a monopoly. You support one club, and that's the only club you support. So therefore, there has to be a recognition of that you cannot pretend football is a market.